Good morning, children. We will continue the lesson we did in the last class, Gorillas in the Mist, page 66. That is the middle of that page. When Fossey's favorite gorilla Digit was killed by poachers on 31st December 1977, she wrote to the President of the Rwanda Republic asking for the men to be punished, and to the National Geographic Society. In her diary, she wrote about the aftermath of the incident. Aftermath, what happened after Digit was killed by poachers. Poachers are people who illegally or unlawfully shoot animals and kill them in order to take their skin or tusk or different parts of their bodies. Just as we were about to start the autopsy, my woodman working about 50 feet from my house began yelling in Swahili, "Poachers, poachers." Autopsy is something like post-mortem. You dissect the body, you cut the body after the death to find out the cause of the death, the reason for the death. The woodman had seen a poacher with bow and arrow just on the edge of the camp area. No poachers have dared come near my camp for at least 3 years. I yelled to my camp staff to chase the poachers while I grabbed my gun, not legally registered, and ran after them. I kept running and shooting up in the air to keep him from crossing the main open meadow above camp, where he could have disappeared into the forested area. My men captured him there along with a blood-stained bow and 5 arrows. He was a baby-faced little Twa. Twa is a tribe of Africa, and his face looked just like a baby's face. He was one of Digit's killers. As he admitted, he confessed. He agreed that he had killed Digit. Both the front and back of his tattered yellow shirt were sprayed with fountains of Digit's dry blood. He had a bow and arrow. Maybe he killed Digit with a bow and arrow, and when he killed it, the blood fell on his shirt also. You can see in the picture there, the man with the yellow shirt, all blood stained, red color. We brought him to the camp and tied him up while we went on with poor Digit's autopsy. It was a gruesome business, a very horrible business, unpleasant work, in that the spears had pierced so many of his organs, lungs, heart, spleen, intestines and stomach. All the different parts of his body was pierced with spears. When we finished, we went inside my cabin for a bit of lunch that nobody felt like eating. While this was being prepared, my Africans were outside with a Twa examining him. We hadn't been in 5 minutes when all hell broke loose. 5 minutes they were inside the hut, and suddenly there was a big confusion, noise, shouting. We hadn't been in 5 minutes when all hell broke loose and my men began screaming, "Poachers" again. I thought the original prisoner had escaped and dashed outside, but in fact 3 of his accomplices had crept up to look for him. This prisoner, this person who killed Digit, had not escaped, but 3 of his friends, accomplices, his friends who together did the crime, who did the killing of Digit. But in fact 3 of his accomplices had crept up to look for him, and they were looking out for him and were seen by my men. My Africans and I began another chase. So they began to chase these 3 other people who had come to look for Digit's killer. But I had to give up, though they followed the tracks for another 2 hours without result. They could not find them. I returned to camp to guard the tour. We interviewed him until quite late at night, and during the course of our interrogation is question. They are questioning him to find out why he killed Digit. We obtained the names of Digit's killers. What shocked me more than anything was the motive for Digit's death. A Hutu merchant had offered to pay the head poacher, Munariuko, the equivalent of $20 to get the head and hands of Silverback. Digit was a young silverback. Silverback, earlier we came across it. It's a male monkey with white stripes at the back or silver stripes on the back. The Hutu, that is an African tribe. Hutu refers to the tribal African. The Hutu hoped to find a tourist who would pay him much more for the souvenirs. That is the head and the skin of Digit. The tour prisoner told us he knew where Digit's head and hands were buried, near the head poacher's house, under a clump of trees. The next day, I sent down a message to the chef de brigades, is given there, a military rank, Paulin Kubeli, saying we had caught one of Digit's killers and that I would not release him to the park guards, who had a way of losing their prisoners. Therefore, on the 7th, Kubeli climbed to camp accompanied by 3 commandos. Now the park guards, the prisoners will bribe the park guards so that they can get their freedom. So she did not trust the park guards. And she called for this officer to come and decide the matter. I allowed him to take the tour down to a military security compound where he is being held awaiting presidential decree as to the extent of his punishment. So he was taken to the military security compound so that the president could decide the punishment. Decree is the law or order for the punishment, official law or order. Kubeli seemed somewhat afraid of me. I can't imagine why. I can say that to let the tour go was one of the most difficult things I have ever done in my life. It was only in respect of Digit's memory that he left here untouched. Dian Fossey wanted to punish this tour who had killed Digit, but he was allowed to go free in memory of Digit. Back from America 3 years later, Fossey returned to her beloved gorillas. Here she describes her joyful reunion with them. To reach them meant a long climb lasting 2 hours. The females and the youngsters of the clan, 16 in all, were resting in thick vegetation in the warm sun on the steep slope of the bowl where they had made their day's nest. She is returning after 3 years. She goes back to the group of gorillas whom she had left earlier. When I got my breath, I worked my way down towards them, though I could see only the occasional one. When I got 20 feet from them, I sat down and began making Fossey-style introduction noises, a soft series of rumbles like gorillas make when expressing contentment. Earlier we are told that in order to become friendly with these animals, she has to imitate them, imitate their voice, their expression on their faces, and to behave like them. Then only they will become friendly with her.